You're listening to
We would like to welcome you to Audio Suplex Live, brought to you by the Nerd Complex Podcast Network.
What the hell was that for?
I don't...
Why did you do that?
For some reason, I remember the...
Yeah, I completely forgot that we had that pre-recorded.
I remember that we have it
Yeah,
pre-recorded. Did you catch me trying to jump over it?
Nah.
Oh, well, here we are explaining something that people didn't even hear.
No, they heard it.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Okay, well, to give a little bit of context, I thought it was earlier into the
That's
music.
because the one time Joe played it, he accidentally didn't play it until right before I talked.
Oh, wow. Well, either way, we're really excited that people are listening. Like, I want to welcome everybody to our show.
Which show is it? What episode are we on?
We are on episode number 10.
What episode is it? You don't have to do that.
Thank God. Nobody wants to see these guns flapping around.
Your white shirt blends right into your arm.
It's really bad. Oh, man. I don't go outside much. Not when we are committed to watching all the wrestling we can.
50 hours this weekend.
Corey, we did it.
Yeah.
What a marathon this weekend was. I mean, I don't think we need to tell you guys, but if you're listening to this, you're obviously a wrestling fan.
Well, don't say so. Don't say obviously.
Okay, well,
My girlfriend listens. My fiance listens sometimes.
Nice. That's correction.
My fiance, and she is not a wrestling fan, but she listens sometimes.
And she's a fan of you.
She
so,
is.
You know,
She just wants to support me.
That's good. You know, it's good to have somebody like that in your corner.
It's
so
nice.
That's good. She's a fantastic woman.
She's not bad.
Yeah.
She's pretty good looking too.
Yeah. So.
Which is unlikely for a heel like me.
Yeah, and she puts up with the copious amounts of wrestling that we have to watch in order to operate this show.
She puts up with it.
Good Lord. Okay, so like, I mean, we don't even have to do the breakdown, but between like Friday night, if you're counting the Hall of Fame,
Of course we are. Well, you should count our podcast that we did on Friday as well.
Oh yeah,
So
well, not to mention that, but we did a show on Thursday too.
Yeah, so let's start there.
So we did a show on Thursday.
Well, hold on. Wednesday was NXT. So let's start from Tuesday was SmackDown, and then Monday was Raw. So has it just been wrestling every day?
We've been in a perpetual loop of wrestling for like
every
a week.
Day.
There's no wrestling on tomorrow.
It'll be the first
or
break
Saturday or Sunday.
Right, but it'll be the first break of wrestling.
What are you gonna do with your What are you gonna do with your time off?
I'm off work too. My regular job, my real job.
Wow.
I'm gonna lounge it out.
I'm gonna need like a palate cleanser. I'm gonna need something like fine art or something like that to kind of like just, you know, something.
Play some board games.
Yeah. Hey, you know I'm a big board game guy. You know, you can always.
I know that you're boring. You're a boring guy.
You're not wrong. Which is why I am usually in charge of doing the news. The news. We're keeping Joe on his toes today.
It's the news. Jesus.
That was one of
Irrelevant.
One of our less than graceful news introductions.
I think that makes us like special and quirky.
You know, I was thinking about this a little bit today.
We just never do anything right.
Before we jump into the news like fully, I was thinking about this earlier today. We are one of a million in like the sea of wrestling podcasts.
I don't think there's a million. No, I don't think there's a million.
There's a lot of wrestling podcasts. But I was trying to think like what do we bring to the table? What is different about Corey and Travis and our colorful cast of characters and cavalcade of friends that we bring onto the show with us?
Your vocabulary definitely helps.
Yeah, I think that, and I think we bring mirth. We have personality. We have charisma. We have a good banter between you and I. We have a good rep.
Yeah, okay. I was going to bring up other podcasts, but why even mention those
Honestly,
guys?
why even listen?
I do listen to all those guys too, though.
Yeah.
So that's cool. If you listen to us and other people, that's all right. You don't have to just listen to us because then I would be a hypocrite.
Corey takes like the independent wrestling philosophy on this one where he's like, you know what, like us, but like other people who do the same thing too. I take the WWE approach where it's listen to me, and worship only me.
That's the difference between a heel and a face, apparently. Travis, we need to bring this up. I feel like you are turning heel. You've been hanging around me too much, especially these last couple days.
Yeah, we had we have our core group of friends that watches the wrestling pay-per-views together and stuff like that. Shouts out to the WWF in your hood.
Yeah.
But we had our WrestleMania party this past weekend, obviously on Sunday, and Corey pointed out that I was apparently showing some heelish tactics and some heel tendencies.
It was a rude dog.
Well, anyway,
You're very very Roman Reigns-esque.
Yikes!
I don't know if that's you weren't acting like that. You were.
Yeah, actually, what happened at WrestleMania is I walked out and stood in the middle of the room for like 8 minutes.
Oh, that was beautiful.
While you guys just cussed me out. That's exactly,
so good.
Which is where the comparison comes in. But anyway, our first little bit of news this week. Speaking of WrestleMania, one of the cooler moments of WrestleMania was the triumphant return of Jim Ross to the commentary table for the Undertaker Roman Reigns match.
That's who that guy was?
Yeah,
Jim Ross.
Jim
Yeah, I've
Ross.
heard of him.
Yeah.
I've heard of him.
WWE Hall of Famer who returned to WWE to provide commentary for the aforementioned match on Sunday, announced in an interview with Fox Sports that he has actually signed a new 2-year deal with the company. Quoted as saying, it has a specific number of dates that I'm obligated to work, which I think is good for me, Ross said. So look at it this way. I got my jersey back. I got brought back to my home team and my opportunities back in WWE. I'm sure it will be multifold. Ross goes on to confirm that the new contract with WWE will have him wearing more than one hat aside from his ever-famous cowboy hat. They've got a lot of things that I can contribute to, Ross said, and I've been so blessed in the business that I've done so many different things. I've been an administrator, and a syndicator, a marketing rep, a VP of broadcasting, a head of talent relations, but the fun part is what I did tonight in reference to calling the match between Reigns and The Undertaker. So...
Yeah, that's good. Hopefully he'll be able to do, obviously, probably the pay-per-views. Hopefully he does the whole card. That would be great.
I could see him being in a role like what they had with WrestleMania, where he just kind of comes in for like the one big match.
But I want him there for the whole.
It was so good. How good was it to hear him on Sunday night?
On a scale, probably 6.
Out of
6 out of 100. But on this scale, a low number is good and a high number is bad.
Before we went on air, Corey and I were trying to figure out what we thought of WrestleMania, and I asked him, I was like, "Hey, Corey, what did you think of WrestleMania?" And he goes, "About a 6."
It was pretty good. It was a 6 out of 100 on a reverse scale.
But a reverse scale. So wouldn't it be 6 out of 1?
No, 6 out of 100. It's still out of 100. There's 100 options.
But the lower you were on the scale, the better.
Right. It's like bowling.
Okay.
You want a low score.
Right. It was a good show. So, and we'll get a little bit more into that.
Golf is what you want a low score, not bowling.
Next little bit of news here. Shelton Benjamin has been officially cleared to return to action. The former 3-time Intercontinental Champion and half of the world's greatest tag team announced via his Twitter that he had been cleared to return to the ring after recovering from a surgery that halted an announced return to WWE and SmackDown this past summer. No update on what Benjamin's status with WWE is at the time of the announcement.
The gold standard Shelton Benjamin.
Is that in reference to like when he had the platinum or like the gold
platinum hair? Yeah, they
gold
called him
hair.
the gold standard
That's funny.
when he had the platinum.
Did they
hair.
really actually call him that? I don't recall that.
You don't remember him being called the gold standard?
I don't recall. That may have been like
Why do you
after
think he had gold hair and gold attire?
because he was a really big fan of Cisco.
So that was his
Of
gimmick.
Thong Song
It was the
fame.
thong song gimmick. If only it were that easy.
Can you imagine like Shelton Benjamin just like he's with Charlie Haas. It's 3:00 in the morning. They're watching MTV, and then like the Thong Song video comes on, and that's where he looks at Charlie and goes, "We're done. No more team. I found what I need to do." So what do you think now that Shelton Benjamin's like cleared to come back? Do you think there is a place for him still in the WWE roster?
I could see him appearing next week at the shake-up.
Really?
The little shaky shake.
Yeah. Where do you think he goes?
SmackDown.
You think SmackDown?
I think he'll appear. Well, yeah, I think so. You know what I didn't like about the? We're not going to talk about the shakeup right now. Go ahead.
All right.
We'll talk about Shelton Benjamin. I think he will appear and he will stay on SmackDown.
It would be good. I think he's synonymous. He's one of those guys that's kind of like when I think of SmackDown, like I think of like Kurt Angle, I think of The Undertaker, I think of
Eddie Guerrero.
I think of those guys who were like synonymous with the SmackDown brand during
Booker
the first
T?
brand.
Booker T.
No, see, when I think Booker T, I think back to him in Goldust, and that was always on Raw.
You're thinking about the wrong Booker T.
You're talking about
run,
King Booker.
Single run Booker. Yeah.
Well, speaking of people who are not going to be having a singles run anytime soon, Simon Gotch was released from his WWE contract. WWE.com announced yesterday that they and Gotch, perhaps best known as one half of the former NXT Tag Team Champions, the Vaudevillains, had mutually agreed to a release. No official reason for the release has been given, but popular speculation is that the release stems from Gotch's backstage attitude, famously having altercations with fellow superstars and generally being hard to work with.
Wow, he's the worst, apparently.
There's a lot of, like, if you scour either like Reddit or any of like the message boards or something
I've
like that.
never heard of that.
It's a really good website. You should check it out. I would put it up there with like in the top 3 websites that I probably check out. It'd be like Reddit.
Google, I use that a lot.
Google would probably be up there.
MySpace.
MySpace.com/Audio Suplex Live. You guys can check us out.
Hit us up on MySpace.
Add us to your top 8. Share what we're doing.
We probably shouldn't say this because Joe's going to check right now.
Joe's actually currently checking.
He's already
this
logging us into
it.
MySpace.
You can always tell when Joe's got that twinkle in his eye. He's like, oh, I'm going to actually check and see if this is available. So
now he really is.
he really is actually
you don't have
doing
to.
it.
Joe, we don't need a MySpace page.
Joe, we do not need a MySpace
That's just
page.
one more thing to update.
Sure we do.
That's just one more thing to update.
So Simon Gotch. So what does this mean for Aiden English, do you think?
Well, hopefully they can figure out. I heard a rumor, who knows where I heard it because I hear things all over, that he's going to be put on 205 Live, possibly.
Really?
I mean, he's in the weight class, so.
There was even like talks, I believe it was on Wrestling Observer Radio, talking about him potentially reverting back to his old NXT gimmick.
Singing gimmick?
Yeah, which was responsible for one of my favorite NXT segments of all time, the singing contest between he and Big Cass.
I don't think.
Have you ever watched that?
No.
It's fantastic.
Well, NXT, whatever.
It's really good.
I know.
I'm going to send you a link to it.
All right, I'll watch it.
Promise?
No.
I'm going to make you watch it.
Well, okay.
I'll make you watch it Monday once we take like 3 days off from pro wrestling.
Yeah, try not to mention it to me for a couple days.
Oh, man. So going from a guy on his way out from the company to a guy coming back into WWE, Drew McIntyre has officially signed with WWE. Drew McIntyre, who was shown to be in attendance to Saturday night's NXT TakeOver Orlando, announced via ESPN that he has in fact come back to WWE and will be working under the NXT brand. As the former Intercontinental Champion, McIntyre parted ways with the company in 2014. And it's one of those rare occasions where a guy leaves the WWE,
does it really well for himself,
creates a really big name for himself and kind of increases his brand, and comes back and hopefully on the second run will have much greater success than he did the first time.
Yeah, he's currently the WCPW champion there in the UK. So I'm assuming he'll probably drop it or relinquish the belt.
It'd be kind of, I don't know,
I'm
because
sure he's got dates that he's got booked up.
WWE
they have a pay-per-view at the end of the month. The end of April, they're coming to shoot, I don't know. Maybe I'm misspeaking.
If it were a situation where he was a champion somewhere else like TNA, or I'm sorry, Impact Wrestling, or if he was with ROH or another company, I would maybe see that happening. But WWE has an interesting relationship with some of these UK promotions. Now, WCPW and them have kind of had like a weird relationship. They don't really have a working relationship with one another in the sense that they do with ICW and Progress.
Right.
But, I mean, you look at like a Pete Dunne who wrestles with WWE from the UK tournament, and he's also been on NXT. He just did an appearance on 205 Live this past week. Same thing with like Mark Andrews and all them. Like, Pete Dunne is the Progress champion right now.
He's so good.
He's very good.
He's so good.
And Tyler Bate, who is the WWE UK champion, still he's defending the belt, and I believe it's either an ICW or a Progress show coming up here pretty soon.
The WWE UK belt?
Yeah, the WWE UK belt.
They're going on tour with 205. That's what they announced on 205, right? They're doing a tour.
I believe so.
So I wonder if that.
So
I don't know.
But the point I'm trying to make is like if it were any other company, I would say, yeah, it's probably going to be a done deal that he's like done with WCPW and done with all of his UK commitments.
Yeah.
But that's not 100%.
He might not be showing up on television right away because you said Hideo Itami is most likely going to be challenging Bobby Roode.
We should preface this right now because what I'm going to say is actually spoilers for upcoming NXT tapings, but I wouldn't be shocked if you saw Drew Galloway or Drew McIntyre in this case on NXT very soon.
Okay.
Very, very soon.
Yeah.
So
Interesting. Okay. I was misinformed.
So I feel like all the news this week is either like somebody coming or going or leaving somewhere.
In some cases,
or going,
both at the same
yeah,
time.
if you know what I mean.
What's next? Who's going?
So the last little bit of news this week is that Aaron Rex, formerly and perhaps best known from his time with WWE as Damian Sandow,
Aaron Stevens. Is his name.
Aaron Stevens has officially announced that he's done with Impact Wrestling. So Rex, real name Aaron Stevens, acknowledged his departure with the company in an interview with the Title Match Wrestling over the weekend from WrestleCon.
I saw that.
He said, "I don't know if this is going to be it for me because I'm no longer with Impact. Ending on this note is not a bad thing. I'm not saying that I'm never going to get in the ring again, but this is pretty cool, and I'd much rather have people remember me for all the good stuff than to try and hang on. I've had an awesome, awesome career." So
I think maybe he just needs to take a break so he can come back to WWE. It hasn't been long enough yet.
do you think, because they just released him last, I think
a year ago.
It was literally about a year ago.
Yeah,
so
right
like
after
March or
WrestleMania.
May. It was like May last year is when he was officially released. And then he signed with, or he first appeared with Impact Wrestling or TNA at the time in August of that year. So
Are you sure he wasn't around for WrestleMania?
he was
last year?
he was at Mania because he was in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal
last year.
Oh,
Because in the interview that you were quoting, he said he's never been to a WrestleCon before ever because he's always been at WrestleMania
I
Access
don't know
weekend.
if he was at WrestleMania last
So-
year. I cannot for the life of me remember.
So he's never been to WrestleCon. So it's possible he just didn't go to WrestleMania weekend at all last year because he wasn't working anywhere, or he was released right
I'm
before
sure he would have
WrestleMania.
been somewhere though. Anyway,
I don't know.
well, either way,
Neither here nor there.
there was a bit of speculation that he might actually just be done with professional wrestling in general. He's mentioned previously in interviews that he wants to focus on acting and try to make a career out of that.
He said stuff like that when he left WWE, though. He said he was, taking a break. He's not going to be wrestling, and he signed with TNA like right away.
Right. Is this the last you think we've seen of him?
I don't think so. Maybe for a while, but we'll definitely see him again.
All right. Cool.
Exciting.
So that is all the news that is fit to talk about this week.
Are you sure?
I think so.
Yeah, everything else will fit into the review of Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah. So before we get into that properly, we did talk a little bit about, here's the deal. We're not going to do like a full-fledged breakdown of WrestleMania. We're presuming that if you were listening to the show and you're watching the show, that you probably watched WrestleMania, you know who won all the matches, you know what the outcomes of those matches were. What we will do real quick before we get into Raw and SmackDown. What was your overall thoughts of the show, of WrestleMania?
I thought it was the best WrestleMania they've had in probably the last couple of years and years.
I would say 30 would probably give a run for its money.
30 was really good. It had several really interesting matches. The end of the streak, the whole Dan Bryan thing, but overall the card, I think this year was just better. I mean, a lot of the matches felt rushed because there was so many matches. But going into the WrestleMania, I was probably the most excited I've ever been for a WrestleMania.
I remember last year when we watched 32, probably about like the 3/4 way mark of the card. I was definitely starting to feel it. Like I was like,
Yeah.
okay, can we? But honestly, like we sat through the entirety of the pre-show. We sat through the entirety of the main card.
Yeah.
And by the time it was all said and done, I didn't really feel like fatigue. I was entertained the entire time for the most part, with notwithstanding Pitbull. But
I had a really bad headache for like half of that WrestleMania.
yeah, you did. I was worried about you, man.
It was rough. I was gonna leave several times. I was like, I'm just gonna go, but I really wanted to win that belt, so I stuck it out.
So I mean, obviously, there's a few highlights from WrestleMania that we want to kind of like talk about that'll kind of preface Raw and SmackDown. So the kind of the big things that come out of it, what was supposed to be a triple threat tag team ladder match for the Raw tag team titles ends up becoming a
Fatal 4-way.
Which is an actual fatal 4-way.
Yeah, it was an elimination. You can't eliminate someone from a ladder match.
Dear WWE, fatal implies one fall or one thing, like pulling a belt off of a thing.
Yeah, if you pull a belt off a thing, it's over.
It's over. And it does not imply elimination. Elimination is elimination. Fatal is fatal.
So now, hold on. There was 3 teams in the match. What happened?
So it was probably one of it was a very transparent swerve, because if you are connected to wrestling the way that we are, doing research and kind of reading up on stuff and behind the scenes stuff as often as we humanly can, you kind of had an idea what may be happening. But it was a really cool swerve. You had the New Day comes out. They're the host of WrestleMania. They make an announcement that says, as the host, we've been notified to tell you that this is now a fatal 4-way.
They're all wearing their gear.
They're all in their actual wrestling gear, which hats off to the commitment to that, to go get changed, put on your wrestling gear, and then come back out and do this little shtick. So they announced 4th team is going to be entered into the Raw Tag Team titles.
But
and who comes out? The broken Matt Hardy, Brother Nero. The Hardy Boys are back in WWE.
First of all, they did not call him Broken Matt Hardy, but
they have implied.
But Michael Cole said as soon as they walked out, things are about to be broken.
It was, and we'll get to this with Raw a little bit too. They've been kind of pussyfooting around.
What-y footing around?
Pansy footing around.
Okay.
The whole broken
gimmick.
Obviously, there's legal implications there with them in Impact Wrestling and who owns the rights to the gimmick and this, that, and the other thing. You still see kind of hints of it in especially Matt's character.
Yeah.
Jeff has gone full on.
I think the
Jeff
dispute
Hardy.
is the broken universe, which would be the explanation for why he's acting the way he is. He's allowed to talk however he wants.
You really
he can't
can't
say
put,
the word broken, I'm assuming,
Yeah.
just because that would allude to too much. Michael Cole saying things are about to be broken, referring to ladders, I'm assuming. That's probably close to the line.
Flirting. They're flirting with it a lot.
But they just want. It's the same thing with when the Bullet Club came to WWE. They'll call them the Club. People still slip up and call them the Bullet Club all the time. The
on
Usos
Talking
have been
Snap.
doing it less 3 weeks in a row. Give us the Bullet Club.
Dude, how good are they on Talking Smack, by the way?
Why aren't they having any matches? They haven't been on SmackDown in 2 weeks.
We'll come back to this. But yeah, so that was a big highlight. Trying to think what else. Shane McMahon, AJ Styles.
Pretty decent match.
A lot better than it had.
Yeah, I'm glad it opened the show.
A lot better than it
show.
had any right to be.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure Meltzer rated that his top match of the night.
Really?
Yeah, he'd give it 4 stars, I think.
Wow.
Wow.
I like the Triple H Seth Rollins match.
Super good.
it
Super
delivered.
good. Triple H's entrance was fantastic as always. I loved it.
No, were
You didn't like
joking?
it? No, I liked it.
Oh, it's so cheesy.
Yeah, but
American Badass
you
Triple
know-
H came out
the only
on
thing
a tricycle.
the only thing that one upped his entrance was Seth Rollins.
That old broad on the back.
Seth.
Oh,
Don't talk about Stephanie like that.
she went through a table, my good sir.
Well-
Rightfully so.
But
That torch.
so good.
He handed him the Triple H handed him the torch. Now he's gonna burn
He's
him
gonna
with it.
burn it down.
Why didn't he bring that? It was a. You can use weapons in this match. Why didn't he just
bring
the lit
burn him
torch?
down.
Bring the lit torch down with you. That's a pretty
Listen, it
badass
is
weapon.
not sanctioned. You can do whatever.
He wasn't. He left it at the top of the ramp.
You
Dummy.
screwed up, Seth.
Triple H should have used the motorcycle. His
If
motorcycle
you would
spot.
have brought it to the ring, we would have ended the match in 2 minutes, and then the women's SmackDown match would have had more than 5 minutes to
Seth's
flesh
coming
out.
down. Triple H runs him over with the tricycle. Boom.
So pros, we had some really cool moments. You had AJ Styles and Shane was super good. You have the Hardys coming back, which is super cool. Lots of good. There was good matches.
Potentially the retirement of the Phenom, The Undertaker.
Yeah. Also, another unspoken thing that people aren't really talking about: the first WrestleMania in quite some time that Howard Finkel hasn't appeared at.
I don't know who that is.
End of an era.
Who's Howard Finkel?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Yeah. A couple things there were some booking decisions from the show that I didn't really love. I don't understand why they had John Cena and Nikki go over Miz and Maurice, especially with them not coming onto SmackDown.
Because that is the season finale of Total Bellas, right? Okay. Season finale, happy ending. They're getting married, the engagement. Next season on Total Bellas, planning the wedding.
I hate that you're right.
It's got to end on a good note. It's the season finale of their show. All next season's going to be planning the wedding. The season finale will be their wedding day.
I 100% hate that you're right.
And then the next season, Nikki's not pregnant. They got a puppy, though.
Did you just like
I'm fantasy booking Total Bellas right now, and I'm gonna be right.
That's how we know we need some time away from professional wrestling.
I've never watched an episode of Total Bellas or Total Divas.
I've watched some of the Total Divas mostly because like I like
pansy.
the backstage element to it, man. That's fine.
You like it when they're lounging around the pool talking about
Whatever.
shooting the breeze.
Hey, listen, man. You know what we do outside of professional wrestling, whatever.
Any other highlights to your WrestleMania, my good friend?
Jim Ross coming back was super cool.
That was
Overall, cool. I thought the night was good. Like I would have changed a couple things from a booking standpoint, but
Wyatt would have won.
Wyatt would have won. I don't understand that, but we'll get to that when we talk about SmackDown here in a little bit. But yeah,
Enzo and Cass would have won.
No, had they not brought in the Hardys, absolutely.
Yeah.
With the addition of the Hardys, there's no free. How big was that pop, by the way?
It was pretty big.
What
were they chanting? I couldn't tell what they were chanting.
I don't know. I think they were chanting delete. That's what it sounded like to me.
What were they chanting? Are you deleting?
Deleting our listeners.
All right, before we move on, because I feel like we should move on
All
to
three
our
of them.
recaps now. Are you ready to move on? If you listen to our preview show for WrestleMania, we had our picks, which if you haven't listened to
We don't have to go over this.
go back
We don't have to.
just to verify. But we did the picks. I was the most accurate. I got 8 of the 13 matches correct.
Which ones did you miss?
I said Bliss was going to win over Naomi.
Yeah.
I said Enzo and Cass. I couldn't have predicted that.
Well, nobody would have guessed that.
I said Sami Zayn was going to win, and I said Sasha Banks was going to win. So
had I known that Rob Gronkowski was going to be
would have been game over.
Yeah, I would have been like Mojo all day.
Mojo Rawley. Okay.
So
And you got 5. You got 5 out of 13.
It was a poor showing.
I'm sorry to tell you, but you did not good. Just so everyone knows, Ajax, Anthony, did better in the picks than you, Travis. He came on the show, we talked shop, and Ajax, Anthony Jackson, had the better picks. What's wrong with you, man? How are you going to let him get better picks than you, Travis, on the big stage?
This is going back to what I was talking about with Sunday, with us getting together with our group of friends and watching the shows. We also do picks in our personal fandom.
Out of kayfabe.
This is kayfabe right here. Out of kayfabe. In like
it's
another
a very kayfabe world.
It's a different kayfabe for WWF
universe.
in your hood. So we did our picks, and apparently part of my heel turn Sunday night was me riding our buddy Ajax. Ajax, if you're listening, you're a mensch. You're a great friend. We love you. I would never imply that your wrestling acumen is anything.
He is so good at picking when it really matters, which is right here on the show.
Which is funny because you and I were talking because my picks and your picks from the show and
We're
our
different.
picks from like actual picks.
I messed up. I should have went with these picks.
Yeah, well, maybe we should like consolidate our picks.
Well, I'm forced to make these picks early. The other picks I can mail it over right up before.
Well, you sent me like 3 different.
Because I kept getting different feelings.
Anyway, so
you lose, I win. Ajax got 6. Mike stole.
Yeah, stole.
Mike came on the show. He actually had 7 of the 13, so he came in second. And Tyler had 5, just like you. So don't feel bad on the bottom there. Tyler's right next to you.
Yeah, well,
no offense. Thanks for coming on the show, guys.
If there's any place I'd rather be, it's right next to Tyler. So
on the bottom next to Tyler.
On the bottom next to Tyler.
That's right.
Sign me up. All right. So
let's move into our Raw review.
So WWE took over the entire city of Orlando, Florida, for essentially what was like a whole week. And Raw was coming to us from the Amway Center. Is it the Amway Center? I believe so.
Yeah. I don't
down in Orlando, Florida, the same home of the Hall of Fame, same place that they had a C takeover. So, with the exception of WrestleMania, they had this place basically booked up for 5 nights in a row.
I heard they had Cirque du Soleil in there the day in between the shows.
Did they really?
No, what? Yeah, tear it all down. So you have to build it all.
Well, it was funny because like we talked about when we were watching, was it the Hall of Fame or NXT? I can't remember. But the stage set, they literally just like combined the Raw and SmackDown sets into like
Takeover?
one.
Was Takeover like that?
Takeover was like that too. It was on the same like with the same Titantrons and the same like entrance ramp. It's kind of cool.
The best of both worlds.
Right. So anyway, so we are at the Raw after WrestleMania, and this is, if you've never watched the Raw after WrestleMania, one, go find a different podcast or continue listening. That's fine.
If you didn't watch it, guess what? We're gonna learn you.
You're gonna learn today.
We're gonna learn you.
So, so if you've never watched a Raw after WrestleMania, they're known for a few things. One, it's where you usually, it's kind of like the reset. It's the restarting point for the WWE quote unquote season. It's where a lot of storylines are going to either get started, or a lot of people are going to make either returns from injury, debuts are going to happen, especially now that we have NXT. It's become kind of known for the NXT call up, so to speak, where you have people from NXT coming up to the main roster. Had a little bit of all of that.
The other thing that is the common on the Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania, at least I've been told, the crowds will boo
who they normally
cheer who they normally boo. It's the only crowd like it in the world.
Yeah, notwithstanding Chicago or Philadelphia,
don't count those ones,
or Boston.
But for some reason, Michael Cole brought it up on Raw, and JBL brought it up last year. And he brought it up.
They made Corey Graves say it on Raw, which was. I'm a big Corey Graves fan. That was like shooting me directly in the heart.
JBL said it on. I
expected out of him.
Well, he said it last year at the Raw after WrestleMania last year.
Oh, they're just being crazy, Maggle. They usually boo the people they love, just like Roman Reigns, and they. Oh my
they
God.
always love Roman, except for right now.
Oh man, which is funny that you should say that, because Raw opens up with
the best promo Roman Reigns has ever given.
It opens up in a really kind of cool way, though, because it opens up with a video recap of the Reigns Taker match, and this is the Undertaker's last ride. Shows the hat and the coat and the gloves and the ring, and it's a very somber kind of thing, because you realize
Undertaker,
clap, 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 clap,
Undertaker,
and this was the night of 1,000 chants.
Oh, it was insane.
My God, some of them we can't even talk about on air because they are not PG,
and they didn't bleep them or try to mute them. It didn't sound like.
How are you going to?
They can do it. Oh, they can do it.
They could try.
They can mute it down,
and then you know what they're doing.
But that's better than some of the things that could be said to a child.
I guess, man. Well,
the thing about
the
mother being bent. Never mind.
So it starts off kind of with a recap of the Roman Reigns Undertaker match from the night before. Obviously, if you don't know by now, Roman Reigns wins after just kind of like a grueling kind of just beatdown of a match. And the show opens up with basically just like a thank you Taker chant. This deafening, like the entire crowd is front to back, top to bottom, chanting thank you Taker. Somewhere in the middle of this, it starts to kind of evolve into a thank you Taker, Roman sucks chant.
Yes.
And then as if on cue, Roman Reigns music hits.
I don't know.
That was kind of
the APA.
Yeah, that or like Hardcore Holly, I think is what you were doing a little bit. How do you like me now? So Roman Reigns, I think this was the best way to open the show.
Beautiful.
It was, God bless him for everything that he goes through. And like, I will be the first person to say that I don't really think that a lot of the heat he gets, and not to mention, I kind of like what they're doing with him.
I'm interested.
It's a new evolution of what a heel is.
It's a different type of heel.
And I like it. A lot of people are still up in arms about it. I like it.
So my problem, or with the foreseeable problem I think Roman will have, is there's this thing in the business called X-Pac heat.
Yes.
I feel he has superseded X-Pac heat. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
like
it's
legitimately hate him.
He's got his own
no matter
special
what
brand
he does
of heat. Yeah, he could literally save a kitten out of a flaming tree while single-handedly curing the top 3 diseases in the world, and probably still get booed out of your smarkiest of crowds. It's bad.
That's pretty bold. I don't know how accurate that is, but
let's test it.
Let's ask him what diseases he can cure.
So Roman comes out and he cuts literally probably the best promo he has ever cut in his entire life. And this is after 8 minutes. I timed it. 8 minutes of standing in the ring, getting booed from all get out.
A whole bunch of chants.
chant you
I
could
kind of
think
want to
of.
rewatch Raw just
It
to watch
was
this intro again.
even if you just watch this segment again.
Oh, we should
holy
have got a
hell.
sound clip of this.
Well, some of them we couldn't have used. So,
Well, we could have.
so basically, the whole thing is just going on for 8 minutes. Every time he picks up the mic, it gets louder. Every time he puts it back down, he picks up the mic again, it gets louder.
Yeah, he waits for the chant to kind of die off a little bit.
Finally, picks up the mic and drops 5 words and walks out. This is my yard now. Boodoo.
And he did the
Boom.
DX Suck It single.
He did
symbol.
not do that at all. So
He wanted to.
kind of cool, man. I don't know.
It was good.
That's a good way to start the show.
It was good.
So, your first match of the first official match of the night, they announced that the Hardys are going to be defending their newly won Raw Tag Team titles against Gallows and Anderson, fulfilling Gallows and Anderson's rematch. Kind of an interesting way to start the show. I still think there was a little bit of like, are they going to be doing the broken gimmick? Are they not? Did you catch like my one big note about this? It was a pretty solid match. Like there wasn't like anything crazy about it. A lot of nostalgia. The crowd was super into it, getting pretty much like all your requisite Hardy chants out of the way, your delete and F that owl and all that good stuff. The intro, like when JoJo was announcing them to the ring, it was kind of like a weird, because like Anderson and Gallows came out first.
Okay.
And then I can't remember exactly how it happened, but somehow like JoJo said something to the effect of like, and introducing your new, tag team, Raw Tag Team champions, making their triumphant return to WWE.
Oh, yeah, I do
It was like
remember that.
really kind of a weird way to announce them. I don't know.
Yeah.
It kind of took me out of it from the onset.
I do remember listening to it and be like, why would they? Like all the people that are at Raw were at WrestleMania last night.
Right. And they just showed a video package of it happening. Like, so in case you didn't know,
And
the
guess
Hardys
who
are
it
back.
is? You'll
Yeah.
never guess who the champs are.
Good to have the Hardys back. Hardys retain Twist of Fate, and then Swanton from Jeff onto, I believe it was Anderson.
One
Who
of
knows?
them.
It was the
Probably
bald,
Anderson.
the bald one.
He's the weakest of the two.
It sucks. So your third segment of the night, Neville comes out and cuts a promo about his match with Austin Aries when he is interrupted by Mustafa Ali.
He's getting kind of a push.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit of a push, and I think deservedly so. You actually see the next night on 205 Live, he's inserted into the proper Fatal 4-Way number one
Was
contenders
fatal.
match. It was an actual Fatal 4-Way, not an elimination. It was Mustafa Ali the next night.
TJ Perkins.
TJ Perkins, Austin Aries, and Gentleman Jack. Phenomenal match. Probably one of my favorite
It was pretty
matches of
good.
if you're counting from like
205 Live usually has a pretty good main event.
yeah, it was a good match. A lot of really good spots in that one. So, Mustafa Ali is looking really, really, really good lately too, and he's holding his own. He's doing really good ring work. He's pretty good on the mic. I could see him
Good
kind of
moveset.
be, oh yeah, especially that standing Spanish fly from the second rope, super good. So,
Spanish Fly.
yeah,
Okay.
that's what it's called.
I believe you.
Look it up.
Isn't it like a sex thing?
I think it is actually. It's kind
That's
of
why
weird.
I don't know.
That's kind of weird. Anyway, so
That was my nickname in high school was Spanish Fly, but I don't know why.
my only biggest gripe, and I would rather this crowd over a Corpus Christi or a Green Bay, Wisconsin, or any of the really bad crowds that we've talked about before. 9 times out of 10, I will take this crowd because I like fans that are into it. I'm into it when I go to a live event.
It makes everyone else get into it too, usually.
The biggest complaint that I have about this, and it'll probably be like a theme throughout the entirety of the weekend, they brought back the beach ball from last year's
Beach Ball Mania.
Beach Ball Mania, Raw After Mania.
Stupid.
And here's the thing. You have Mustafa Ali and Neville, who are 2 of your best cruiserweights in the division. They can go in the ring. They've proven it before. Putting on a hell of a match. It was a super good match. Nobody is into it. Everybody is literally just too concerned playing with a volleyball. Like, I get it. You want to go and you want to have fun, and it's kind of like a party. It was like the post-WrestleMania party, but come on, guys. So
Yeah, do it during the main event.
So Neville wins, teases a red arrow, opts not to do it, and then throws on the Rings of
Submission,
Saturn. Pretty good playing into that heel character of his. Next segment, we have a limousine arriving in the back, and who steps out but Vincent Kennedy McMahon. So we come back from commercial break, makes his way to the ring. Crowd super into it. I love the fact that they were singing along with his theme music, like at the top of their lungs.
No chance.
It's super fun to watch. Comes out and announces 2 things. One, that next week we are going to be having what's called a superstar shakeup.
Copyright.
copyright,
WWE.
trademark WWE. And that basically it's going to be kind of like a way for, and they announced it later on WWE.com, kind of clarifying a little bit, where it's going to be just kind of like a period of trade and negotiations and deals between Raw's or SmackDown's general manager Daniel Bryan, and this brings me to the second announcement that Vince McMahon made, the newly announced Raw general manager,
Kurt Hawkins.
Yes. Facing the facts, one.
No, wasn't it Teddy Long? Teddy Long,
Well, it was super funny
the
because
Hall of Famer that was just inducted on Friday.
yeah. Well, Vince says, I'm going to introduce like the new, general manager of Raw, and he's a Hall of Famer that just went in. And then Teddy Long's music hits, and he comes out, and
The crowd actually kind of popped for him.
does
which
the
was
whole.
funny.
Come on, it's Teddy Long. What are you not going to pop?
I guess.
Dude, it's Teddy.
And then he pulled the R-Truth thing where he's like, "What? I'm sorry."
And announces that the proper general manager of Raw is none other than newly anointed Hall of Famer
Dun, 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 dun.
Kurt Angle. So didn't surprise me really.
That was everyone's speculation.
I kind of figured it would be a good post-Mania move, especially once they fired Mick Foley properly.
What's his face?
Yeah, that guy who used to jump off of shit.
I don't know who he is, but he is old. He reminds me of Roseanne Barr. with a shitty beard.
It's a hardcore legend Roseanne Barr. Are you picturing Roseanne with like a barbed wire bat now?
I always have. Sometimes I get them confused.
Oh,
I get
man.
them mixed up sometimes.
Oh no. All right. Well, so we got two really cool announcements there. Now the only thing and you'll probably talk about this with SmackDown a little bit.
I'll try to mention it.
This whole Superstar shakeup thing, I feel, has kind of put Raw and SmackDown at kind of like a standstill for storylines.
For 1 week.
So no real storylines came out of this. Like
Nothing concrete.
Yeah, nothing like
So
monumental.
while we're talking about this, possible trade ideas.
Yeah.
Who do you think? You got any? Sami Zayn coming to SmackDown?
I don't think Sami Zayn's I don't know.
Mick Foley's not there Roseanne's not there to cheer him on.
He had a good little backstage segment with Kurt Angle trying to endear himself to him, but then again, that doesn't mean anything to it. And they've hinted
Kurt
at
be like, you know what? I pretended I don't really like you.
Right. Well, they actually sold like Kurt being like annoyed with Sami, which is kind of like a persistent part of Sami Zayn's character. I don't know, man. I think
rumors New Day coming to SmackDown, AJ going to Raw.
Yeah, I think that's a persistent idea. I would like
Charlotte.
I would love to see the New Day go to SmackDown. One, that's going to increase viewership.
Help
Two,
the tag team division, hopefully.
Yeah, it's going to bolster up that tag team division a little bit.
Charlotte for Alexa Bliss.
That was
another one.
That was something that I believe Meltzer said on Wrestling is Over Radio. So
yeah, he heard. Well, I actually broke the news, and he heard it from me, and then he recorded it. Yeah, I don't want to be like shooting my own horn or anything, but yeah, he gets some information from me sometimes.
Uncle Dave reaches out to Heel Corey for information.
Yeah, it's usually he's not always right.
How does he get a hold of you? Is it like direct? Does he like text you or
he slid in my DMs?
He DM'd you?
Yeah.
On Twitter?
No, on MySpace.
Is that our MySpace? Because that's our MySpace.
My personal.
Okay.
He seeked me out personally.
Well, speaking of the New Day, for the time being, they're still on Raw.
Who'd they lose to?
they.
Let's get this ball rolling. What happened to the New Day? Did they lose to somebody?
They did lose to somebody, but what the real story is, New Day comes out, they do the whole thing. They've got so they are now like, they're all about this ice cream gimmick now. They have these like shoulder pads with like ice cream bars on them. And
did you write down what Xavier said when he was wearing those gloves?
No, what did he say?
He said, I'm going to hit you in the face with my creamy fists or something like that, because he had ice cream. It was I took it very sexually. That's not, I don't know if that's an exact quote of what he said, but it was something along those lines.
It's just very innuendo.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It was hilarious.
So one of the things that we talked about earlier is that these post-Mania Raws and SmackDowns tend to be like a call up for NXT talent. So New Day comes out, they get in the ring and they issue an open challenge, which is like literally like the default setting for we need to call somebody up. So which we saw twice this week actually.
Spoiler alert.
But yeah, so they come out, they do the whole open challenge, and who should answer the call? NXT former
DIY.
Former two-time NXT Tag Team Champions, The Revival, Scott Dawson, Dash Wilder. If you're not familiar, pause this podcast. go watch their match against DIY, the 2 out of 3 falls from NXT TakeOver. I think it was Toronto. And then basically watch any NXT tag team match from any of the takeovers in the past year and a half.
Yeah.
All right, now that you come back to the show,
I don't think anyone paused it.
now that you're actually a fan of the Revival, welcome back. Fantastic.
I was hoping they would be on SmackDown, but happy nonetheless that they're in the main roster.
Kicking over the ice cream cart.
It'll probably be good for them to be up with those big name tag teams on Raw. Like, it'll bring them up to the same level.
Kicking over the ice cream cart.
Right.
Fantastic. My God. Such a good introduction to them.
Scott Dawson's probably my favorite.
They're fantastic. They are just, they're the best tag team. Hands down.
Oh, this brings up something that reminded me of. So I didn't have a wrestling shirt to wear to WrestleMania, which is I was frustrated because I really wanted to buy one.
We remember the story.
So I've decided I'm going to order one online, a new one for every pay-per-view.
You're going to order a new
shirt.
Every month for every pay-per-view.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to get a Revival shirt first.
I got to be honest. I would like the no flips, just
what?
no flips, just fists.
No.
I would like that one, but I'm so picky about like wrestling shirt designs. Like some of them are just so bad.
No, that's all right.
But
there's enough good ones out there, and then you can go to like ProWrestlingTees.com. They have a ton of
get some cool ones on there,
like off-brand ones. Kmart brand ones. Actually, Kmart probably carries the regular WWE branded ones.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? So super good introduction
Way
to
to
Revival.
Revival.
They win the match with the Shatter Machine, and then a little bit of post-match shenanigans decide to take out the knee of Kofi Kingston. So
they have to cement themselves as bad guys.
They really do, and that how better to do it than to take Kofi Kingston's knee and destroy it.
New Day are leaving to go to SmackDown next week anyways, so they can eat a loss here, and it's not really going to affect their storyline.
What if they only took 2 of the 3?
Which 2? Who would be Xavier be separated and then fired?
Just no.
Because he does things that are not... It sexually offends me.
Listen, your relationship and how you view Up, Up, Down, Down is between you and your viewing of Up, Up, Down, Down. Like, fantastic channel. Like, if you want to take it in that context, that's between you and you.
Me and Kofi?
Yeah.
I don't watch Kofi's show Up, Up, Down, Down.
Xavier.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
All right, moving right along. What happened after that?
So we have our first backstage segment with Kurt Angle setting up his office, doing just GM things, unpacking, getting himself situated. When he is introduced to Enzo and Cass, they come into the office.
This is a good segment.
Super good segment. Very, very reminiscent to some of the old, like Edge and Christian with Mick Foley when he was the GM of Raw.
Yeah.
Really, really good segment.
And Kurt did that all the time, too.
Like, Kurt... It was so good to see Kurt Angle back and just like that.
That's how you spell soft.
I think my favorite part was I can't even remember how they started out, but like Kurt Angle says like, "Oh, that's not any college I ever heard of."
Yeah,
super
certified
funny.
G.
Yeah,
bona fide thug.
So good. So basically, the whole premise of the whole segment was that Enzo and Cass want to get an opportunity at the Raw Tag Team titles. Kurt Angle makes a match for next week. We're going to see Enzo and Cass versus Sheamus and Cesaro for the 8,000th time for number 1 contenders for the Raw title. So I'm sure it'll be setting up for something probably at the next pay-per-view, which is Payback at the end of the month. So
maybe someone's getting moved in the shuffle.
I had initially thought that they were going to break up Sheamus and Cesaro.
They're doing pretty good together.
I don't know.
Sheamus is like with the fans now. They're into Sheamus, which helped because he was like Roman Reigns level not liking him.
I wouldn't even say it was that bad because like Roman Reigns is like people actively not liking him,
right. But
whereas like
I hated Sheamus.
Sheamus,
I'm not a fan at all of him. Now I'm on board.
I would never say that I hated him. I would just say that I was just apathetic towards him. Like I just. Doesn't really excite me.
That's even worse.
Yeah, and that's their argument with Roman is that you're reacting. So So after this, we have a 6-woman tag match. Sasha, Bailey, and Dana Brooke taking on the team of Charlotte, Nia Jax, and another return to the main roster. Emma finally coming back to the main roster. It was so good to hear that music again. So good to see bad Emma with the glasses, the whole nine. Man, I absolutely loved it. So.
And then she jumped on the table, didn't she? The announce table.
She jumped on the announce table.
She like kind of tripped when she jumped off a little bit.
Well, I mean, as you do.
She's tiny.
So, a couple little callbacks. Really good to see like Emma and Dana Brooke going at it. Callback to their time in NXT together.
They were together.
Kind of little throwback there. Sasha picking up the win with the bank statement on Charlotte. Match ends with a lot of infighting from the heel team though. Basically just kind of the whole blame game, blaming one another for the loss, resulting in Nia Jax killing Charlotte.
That's weird. I almost predicted the Nia Jax and Charlotte would have a feud after WrestleMania.
Which would be kind of... It's
Which is
cool.
weird 'cause
They're setting
both
up for
heels.
it. Well, they're setting up for it, but what if it goes nowhere with...
Charlotte being shuffled over to SmackDown.
Yeah, so we'll see. I think it would be a pretty cool feud if they do end up staying on the same roster. And
Maybe they did it so that they can call it back when they're on the same roster again in the future.
Right. Well, moving on. Next segment, we have Sami Zayn backstage and his little off piece with Kurt Angle, having a little bit of a conversation with him. Basically, Sami just kind of trying to get into the good graces of Kurt Angle, trying to reestablish that relationship that he had with Mick Foley when he was GM. Is interrupted by Jinder Mahal complaining about his altercation with Rob Gronkowski, costing him the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Rightfully so.
Kurt basically says, "We settle this in the ring." We are then treated.
Mojo gets the fight.
Yeah.
Mojo's on Raw.
No. Did I say Mojo?
Gronkowski?
No.
Who does Jinder wrestle?
Sami Zayn.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Sammy goes over with a hula kick. Nothing new here. We've already seen this before. Brock Lesnar and we are now Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman come out to cut a promo. Refers to Suplex City as South Central Suplex City. Paul Heyman just literally just goes on. He cuts into this whole basically this whole fairy tale that he's talking about, like how Brock Lesnar took out Goldberg and just kind of like really kind of like setting up for this whole, what apparently is looking to be a year of Brock Lesnar as a champion. He mentioned off
AJ gets there.
Mentioned off a couple of possible contenders. He said, maybe Seth Rollins will be a contender.
They've already done that.
Maybe Matt Hardy or Jeff Hardy could be a contender.
They've already done that.
But then he finally gets down to a name on the list of possible contenders and directly calls out Roman Reigns. The crowd goes stupid. They are just not into this at all. Kind of preluding to what we'll probably eventually see, the rumored main event for next year's WrestleMania.
So here's what I'm thinking real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
WrestleMania next year is in New Orleans, right? WrestleMania 30 was in New Orleans.
Correct.
That's where Brock Lesnar beat Undertaker and ended the streak, right?
This is where Roman Reigns is going to.
Roman Reigns beat Undertaker at WrestleMania this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Undertaker's getting probably inducted in the Hall of Fame next year. So I wonder if the Undertaker will be at the match between Brock Lesnar
Kind of like a
and
factor.
Roman Reigns. Front row as Mark Calloway, like short red hair. Like he's just there.
I wouldn't count on it.
I don't know. I just think it's interesting that where WrestleMania is going to be, where the Hall of Fame that year is going to be, is where the streak ended.
Yeah.
And then these are the only two guys that ever beat him at WrestleMania are fighting each other.
Right.
I don't know. It just seems like
We'll see.
We'll see in a year.
Yeah, so Heyman throws down a challenge to Roman Reigns, only to be met by Braun Strowman coming out and throwing down a challenge to Brock Lesnar, saying that he wants a shot. And basically, my only thing about this that I didn't like is that they went from booking Strowman so strongly and making him look just like unstoppable to now he's kind of like a little bit of a chicken shit, to where like he gets in these confrontations
Backs off.
and then just kind of like, no, we'll do it on my time, and then backs off and then just kind of like runs up the ramp. Like, dude, you're the one who came out here in the first place to like call your shot. Like,
That's true.
So
Unless you're Roman, he'll attack Roman.
yeah, we'll see. I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting to see where they go with this. Do you think that they might try to set up a title match for Payback?
I'm going to say Payback. Oh, wow. Probably not, honestly. I think this will be the one that he gets to skip because he's not going to have a storyline.
Yeah.
I think Roman will probably find something to do until what's the pay-per-view after Payback that Raw would have, do you know?
I think it's probably Extreme Rules.
So maybe that would be Roman versus Brock there, and then the next pay-per-view that Brock wrestles would probably be Braun Strowman, and then he'll probably do Finn Balor Sami Zayn. Like, he'll run through all these guys getting ready, and then Roman.
Basically leading up to.
Maybe Reigns somehow will get out of getting the match. I don't know. Because if they're going to wait until WrestleMania to have them actually fight each other again.
No, we'll see. So earlier the night, they had announced that there was the main event of the night was going to be a tag team match with Chris Jericho and Seth Rollins taking on Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens. Before that, we are treated to a backstage segment with Chris Jericho being interviewed. During the interview, he basically puts Kevin Owens' fingertip on the list for costing him the United States title at WrestleMania, for the really hilarious spot where literally puts his fingertip on the list or on the rope.
That's a good spot.
Yeah, it's a really good spot. So, puts his fingertip on the list, and then shortly thereafter gets the rest of Kevin Owens. When Kevin Owens comes out and attacks him in the middle of his interview, enter Samoa Joe, and they basically just murder Chris Jericho in the back, setting up for the classic wrestling trope: your partner's out, who's going to replace him? Mystery partner time. So
I thought it was going to be Edge.
you thought so? I actually lied earlier. I incorrectly said that the Sheamus Cesaro Enzo and Cass number one contender match was next week. It was actually this night.
Yeah, so I know.
Yeah, why didn't you correct me?
I didn't know that's what you said. I didn't know that you said it was next week.
I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself. So
Sorry.
before we're treated to the mystery opponent or the mystery tag team partner for Seth Rollins going into the main event, we are treated to the number one contenders tag team match between Sheamus and Cesaro and Enzo and Cass.
And guess who won?
Sheamus and Cesaro, which is now my new favorite chant. Until that gets like pounded into the ground and like just swirled into dust.
Was annoying.
I thought it was super good, and they went along with it because Sheamus and Cesaro won.
Sheamus likes being cheered for.
And Cesaro. It was so good. How do you not like that chant?
I just I don't know.
Super
I do like
good.
them better than I like Enzo and Cass, but I thought that it was Enzo and Cass's turn. Maybe Enzo and Cass are going to SmackDown. Maybe. Where Carmella is.
That's actually what I kind of thought initially too. I honestly thought that would be one of the superstar shakeup trades that would probably happen.
Trade them for
Breezango. Trade them for some singles competitors. Let them bolster and break them up.
No,
you want Breezango on Raw?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're good. I like them.
It's a lot more ugly dudes for them to hand out tickets to.
That's
I would say in terms of attractiveness, the Raw roster is lacking.
And they'd be losing Enzo and Cass, who fill a lot of time talking on the mic.
SmackDown's
you got these guys
got a very attractive roster.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, Breezango would have more opportunities to hand out tickets.
I know.
To ugly people.
And there's an extra hour for them to do that. They could fill in.
Whole hour of them.
They'll actually get some airtime.
So main event time, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, Seth Rollins, and an unnamed mystery opponent. It's Finn Balor.
Oh.
It's Finn Balor.
Finn
Balor makes his triumphant return to Monday Night Raw, even though he's been medically cleared for about a month and a half.
And he's been wrestling.
Yeah.
Jinder Mahal mostly.
There were some people who thought that this would be kind of like a swerve. Like everybody thought it was going to be Finn Balor. There were some people who were,
and then Shinsuke Nakamura.
People thought they were going to swerve us and bring out Nakamura for the match. But
because
either way,
why would Finn Balor help Seth Rollins? He's the one that put him on the shelf and made him miss WrestleMania.
Because for as little as they have in common and as much as they should hate each other, they have enough common enemy.
What it is, they're both good guys, and they're the only two big good guys.
They're really the only two big faces on Raw right now.
Yeah.
But it was, super good to see Finn back. Rollins and Finn pick up the win. Finn hits the coup de grace. I believe it was Kevin Owens. Pretty solid match. Good to have Finn back. It'd be interesting to see where we go from here with the shakeup. So, yeah, that is Raw. I thought it was a pretty solid show. I thought
it was good.
I thought Raw
was like a 6.
I thought Raw was... Out of what?
What do you mean out of what?
Out of 100 still?
What else would it be out of?
I don't know. I never know with you.
It's always 6 out of 100 on a reverse
Corey,
scale.
I'm tired of talking. Hit me with what happened on SmackDown this week.
You're in luck. I have abridged notes. So,
why does Raw take so long?
Because it's 3 freaking hours.
Is it me or is it just Raw?
I don't know what it is.
Joe, what do you think?
I just feel like SmackDown is... I think it's Raw. Because SmackDown's real easy to take notes because there's only so many segments.
I have like 15 segments
of
notes here.
I know. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Let's see.
6, 7, 8, 9.
My
10.
SmackDown notes from a couple weeks ago. It's like 5.
Here we go. SmackDown Live. JBL, Tom Phillips, and David Otunga, Orlando, Florida. They mentioned twice that it was sold out. It was not sold out. There was empty seats.
I don't think they've sold out. Like
They
5
said
nights in a
they
row.
said 5 nights in a row, but they said in a sold out crowd here in Orlando at the beginning, and then later they said we sold out 5 nights in a row, which is not true. So liar, Tom Phillips, shame on you. All right, show opens. Randy Orton comes out. Cheers and boos, like a lot of boos for Randy Orton, which I would be on the side of the
because
boos.
he should not have
won the
over.
match. Yeah,
He's
the good guy.
boring.
Heavy marks in the crowd, or smarky marks. Wyatt interrupts, challenges the Viper to a House of Horrors match, which
Lord.
is it's going to be a match with a lot of projections. I'm sure there's just going to be a projector on top. Intent on reclaiming the title he rightfully believed was promised to him by Sister Abigail herself. This encourages Eric Rowan to come out and attack Randy Orton from behind. Bray Wyatt and Eric Rowan attack Randy Orton, and Luke Harper comes and makes the save, which makes our main event tonight a tag team match. The Wyatt family versus the former Wyatts.
Kind of an interesting little mixture there. I
was wondering if Luke was going to try to help or what. The fact that he's teaming up with a guy he's been feuding with the last couple weeks is kind of weird.
And there was no signs of distrust. I mean, we'll get to that with the main event.
Right.
Like,
Well, and then in the main event, I was waiting for it too, and it just never happened.
Yeah, like
because Randy wrestled a ton of the match without making any tags. So I was waiting. Okay, Luke's gonna get tagged in and then turn on Randy, and we'll.
It was good of Slipknot to let Eric Rowan take some time off from touring to come back and help out with the Wyatt family and stuff like
with
that.
that mask he was
Yeah,
wearing.
holy hell!
Oh, I loved how David Otunga. Who is this man?
The only thing
Who
missing
is
was
this?
like it's a big bald dude with a beard and a
a
sheet
green
mask.
one piece.
Yeah, like okay, I'm going to give you 3 guesses. It's either Eric Rowan, The Rock, or Roseanne Barr.
It's Roseanne.
It's Roseanne Barr, man.
Ah.
The hell.
So yeah, there's our main event. We're gonna move into the next match here, or the first match, I should say, of the night. We had a not a rematch. They kept referring it as a rematch,
Well,
but
it was a rematch.
no, a rematch would have been a 6-pack challenge tonight, which we did not have. We had the rematch clause that is in Alexa Bliss's contract enacted. So Alexa Bliss,
They really got those out of the way.
yeah, I mean, why not? So Alexa Bliss versus Naomi, and Alexa Bliss loses by submission, the same submission she lost to at WrestleMania. Some like a chicken wing
Do they
with
have
the
a name for
legs.
that yet?
I haven't heard him say anything. It's probably like the glowing submission.
It's much better than her former finisher of "I'm going to hit you with my ass."
she did do that during the match. It's
Yeah.
called the rear view.
The rear view. Oh God.
Yeah. So Naomi wins.
What can we call that move? The glow stick.
I don't know. Is that move in WWE 2K17?
I'm gonna look it up. Let me see if it's.
Because if it is, my creative character is getting a new finisher.
What is your finisher now?
Running knee. So I go in the corner and I hit the triangle.
You are a huge Tony Nese fan.
And it gets him right in the face.
Yeah.
And then the other one I have, I don't know what it's called. He picks him up over top his head and then drops him on his back and it turns into a pin. I don't know. I change him up every once in a while.
I had
the last ride for a while.
I do the one wing angel. The same thing that Big Damo did.
That's a sweet move.
I love that move. That or I usually do a burning hammer as well.
Ooh, that's sweet too. I like the ones that look cool.
And then I have the dragon sleeper as a
Nice.
submission finisher.
One of my
Shouts
favorites
out
is
to Ultimo Dragon, my favorite.
one of my favorite finishers I just get rid of. You throw the guy in the turnbuckle and he's facing the turnbuckle. You come up behind him and you roll him into a German suplex and you roll through and German suplex him a second time.
What?
And you can pin him, a bridged pin.
I need that one. I have to look
Super
that one up.
sweet.
I'm a big suplex guy. So.
Super sweet.
Hence the name of the show.
Moving on, audio suplex. What kind of suplex do you have? So that was a women's match.
Hey Corey, what's your favorite kind of suplex?
I like German suplexes. One of my favorite superstars on SmackDown comes out. Kurt Hawkins comes out to cut a scathing promo on how all anyone wants to talk about is this superstar shakeup, and he wants to talk about
I think there were political
is
undertones.
himself. It's very possible. I mean,
I think it was more of like an allegory for like where we're at as a political landscape right now.
I can see that.
Kurt Hawkins is woke.
He is woke. That's one of the facts about him.
I'm sorry.
He says, I want some real competition because it's all about me.
Open challenge.
I'm issuing an open
Open
challenge, and I'm
challenge.
going to give to the count of 10.
To the count of what?
To the count of 10.
To the count of what?
To the count of 10.
To the count
come to the
of
ring.
what?
To the count of 10.
So obviously 10 people come out to the ring.
No, just one. The perfect 10. 10 out of
He
100.
is the perfect 10.
10 out of 100 on a negative scale.
I love,
Ty Dillinger makes his triumphant debut.
which also means that we now have the triumphant reuniting of Ty Dillinger and the best person to announce Ty Dillinger, Greg Hamilton. You know how some announcers are like, when you
Yeah.
think of Edge, you think of Tony Chimmel.
Absolutely.
You know, rated R superstar. That was my Tony Chimmel, by the way.
Lillian Garcia and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
I
Like,
don't know if that's really is.
or like Howard Finkel for a lot of people who I still have to tell you.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who that is. I'll tell you later, dude. Don't worry about
Harry
it.
Finkel. I'll have to write that
Harry
down.
Finkel. But like Greg Hamilton to me equals Ty Dillinger.
Yeah. He's a really good. I actually noticed this week that I like his announcing
He does
for everybody.
He does really good AJs. Who would like to be announced as the face that runs the place? So
I should tell people I want to be announced that way from now on. Ty Dillinger
the beard
beats
that runs the
yard. Ty Dillinger beats Kurt Hawkins. Can you believe he won his debut match? He's excited. He'll be on Talking Smack later. If you want to watch that, it's on the WWE Network.
It's a pretty good episode.
$9.99 a month.
It's a good episode of Talking Smack.
Moving on to the next segment, we have The Miz and Maurice backstage. They're being interviewed by somebody who I don't know what her name is.
I think it was Dasha Fuentes, wasn't it?
Honestly, it could have been a guy who interviewed them because I don't remember. But they were being
You
interviewed.
also watched SmackDown at 5 o'clock in the morning.
I did watch
so-
it very late, and these are notes based on me going through and watching YouTube videos. So the Miz and Maurice make fun of John Cena and Nikki Bella backstage. They say that they're going to go out to the ring and call him out, blah, blah, blah. This will be the last you see of John Cena and Nikki Bella for a long time. So that's right. The next they go to commercial,
Yeah,
and they come back, and John
it's-
Cena
Whoa-ba-ba-doo!
John Cena and Nikki Bella come out to the ring.
But it's not actually John Cena and Nikki Bella.
Wait a minute, that wasn't John Cena and Nikki Bella.
No.
That wasn't John Cena.
That was the Miz.
They oh my gosh,
They did it
were-
again.
Okay,
This is the third week in a row.
This
They have
makes
pulled
more
one on you,
This
Corey.
makes sense. This makes sense based on what they were saying about themselves. Okay, so
You're
the
like,
ring.
why is John Cena talking about
The
himself
diamond
like this?
ring is not really that big either. Is that?
That may not
that
be
may be
exaggerated.
So they said, you have confirmed everything we said, and they said they are now going to Hollywood, and they're not coming back for a long, long time.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. They it was once again like for all intents and purposes, I should be completely just sick of the John Cena or the Miz and Maurice doing John Cena and Nikki Bella, but it's not old to me yet.
It was funny.
It's so funny.
It was funny. I thought I wasn't. When they came out, at first I did think it was John Cena. I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. Because I wonder how many of the fans took a while for them to get it.
Yeah. It almost reminded me, do you remember that segment from a while ago when CM Punk was feuding with Jeff Hardy and CM Punk came out after Jeff Hardy had left the company and like did the whole thing. He did the makeup, the armbands, the entrance. It was super good.
When
the
was
heel
that?
heat. I want to say it was like 2011 maybe, 2009, 2011, somewhere in that.
I'll have to look that up.
Oh my God, the heel heat. Once the crowd caught on to what was going on, the boos were unrelenting. It was so
like
bad.
it.
It was a good feud too. I love that feud because it's like literally like perfect. Like
Yeah.
just
All right. So the end of that segment, as they're getting out of the ring, a violinist comes out.
That's not a violin.
No, that was your mouth making that noise. Those of you not watching on the camera, he just did that with his mouth.
Yeah. Sorry guys, I thought that was if you thought that was a violin, it was actually just my mouth. Sorry. This has been a good show.
Shinsuke Nakamura comes out for his debut. Comes out, dances, stands in the ring. It cuts to commercial. That's
That's
all
it.
we see at home. But
They did actually
may
say...
I just say
by
what
all-
happens?
By all means.
Oh, thank you. Dolph Ziggler came out and challenged him to a match, which he later lost.
Which
in
those
a dark
viewing at
match.
home didn't see.
We did not see. The match didn't happen during the commercial break. They had the match at the end of the night after 205 Live.
We didn't even see Dolph Ziggler.
We did not see Dolph Ziggler because it wouldn't have fed on the show.
It's kind of an interesting debut, though. Like that's how you're going to debut Shinsuke Nakamura. Like, it was cool.
Maybe he's
'cause,
going to fight The Miz.
Well, yeah, but like at least have the Miz like cut a promo on him or something. Like, don't just have like.
They don't have that kind of time. He already cut a promo on John Cena, who's not there anymore.
I guess, yeah. Well,
All right, up next was the match that they did not advertise as a non-title match. You'd think that they would mention it not being for the title, especially since they advertised it as a rematch from WrestleMania.
I thought it was a title match.
Baron Corbin versus Dean Ambrose in a street fight. So
Which should have been the match
at
on
WrestleMania, and it should be for the title. They did not mention anything about it not being for the title. There was 2 pretty good table spots. There was an elbow off the top rope through a table. There was a slam in the corner through a table. Baron Corbin won with a end of days.
Yep.
In the ring, looked pretty good.
That move is vicious.
I like it.
Yeah.
Baron Corbin wins. He does not win the belt. So, do you think maybe he's going to skip the IC belt and go straight into the main event picture?
No.
Okay. I thought maybe he might. We'll see.
No, I think they'll keep him around the IC belt picture for a little bit. Maybe another smaller mid card feud before they properly put him in
Shinsuke
there.
versus Baron.
No, I'm thinking maybe like a Ty Dillinger versus Baron Corbin feud might be on the horizon.
You want to book Ty Dillinger to lose? I think you should book him against some weak guys first.
But they don't have any low level
Yeah, they do.
heels.
Apollo Crews.
Well, they might have
he's not bad.
low level heel. Aiden English
Well,
might
we're
be.
gonna trade. We got to trade up. We got a swap coming. Swipper swapper.
Swipper Swapper Sweepy.
The Raw Swipper swapper.
Let's go.
SmackDown Live
Run
swap.
it.
It's a swap meet. 2 table spots. Baron Corbin won. Should have been what happened at WrestleMania. It didn't. They're really messing it up.
What the hell?
All right, Shane McMahon comes out. He's going to talk about the Swip Swap that's coming out next week.
The sweep swoop.
He said Dan Bryan's going to go and meet up with Kurt Angle. They're going to talk about some deals. SmackDown's the best brand. We're going to welcome anybody that wants to come here with open arms.
See,
it's a land of opportunity.
I feel like SmackDown actually feels like a brand.
Yeah.
And like its own entity. Like Raw doesn't even like acknowledge the fact that it's like its own like. I mean, some of the Stephanie stuff would, but like head to toe.
Gone, but we'll see. I'm interested to see how Kurt Angle's going to. 2 face GMs is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. AJ Styles music hits. He comes out and he says, "What are you doing in my ring?" That's not what he says. He says, "I love SmackDown. I don't want to go anywhere. I'm the face of the brand. I got something to give you, Shane, you piece of garbage." And he gives him a handshake. He's like, "You earned this, blah, blah, blah." So they shake hands. And then as they walk away, AJ kind of does a fake punch. Shane kind of, he gets a reaction.
Yeah.
We'll go with reaction. Flinches a little bit.
So does Shane now then get 2 for flinching?
He gets 2. So
Okay.
whenever AJ wants to do that, I think there is a time limit, but he's got a
I don't think there's a statute of limitation on that, man. I think it's 2 whenever.
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay, those just stack up then. So yeah, they shake hands. I'm interested to see if maybe AJ will still get traded to Raw, even though he says he wants to stay there, and he shook hands with.
I 100%
Shane.
think this is setting up for him to get traded to Raw.
Maybe Shane's like, "Oh, don't worry, you're not going anywhere," and Dan Bryan's the one in charge, and Dan's like, "Sorry, man, we got a really good deal. We got the New Day straight up for AJ, 3 for 1."
Starting to cause a little bit of a fraction between Dan Bryan and Shane.
We don't see eye to eye, man.
Yeah.
I'm a good guy, and you're a good guy, but we don't see eye to eye.
Yeah. Who knows?
Be interesting. And then we can move on to one of the crappier matches of the night. We got Randy Orton and Luke Harper versus Bray Wyatt and Eric Rowan. It wasn't a bad match. The reason I say it is because Luke Harper did not turn on Randy Orton.
That match was just booked so bad.
And Eric Rowan came back to eat a pin from Randy Orton. That's all he's good for. He's good for. Oh, and then when Wyatt in the ring with Randy Orton, he's about to hit the RKO, and boop, 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 he disappears and appears on the stage laying down on the ground, grabbing himself.
And you couldn't have done that during your title match the night before.
No, not when it counts.
Yeah, apparently. You
And then-
you can conjure up like a PowerPoint presentation of like what maggots look like or what cockroaches look like, but you can't conjure up enough willpower to your way out of the wing. Oh my god.
That was SmackDown.
Book Bray Wyatt.
I hate the world title picture on SmackDown. The shakeup hopefully can help that.
Who do you put in the title picture? I don't think they're going to put
Anyone.
Nakamura directly into the title picture.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think they need to get the Intercontinental title A on a heel, B on somebody who's actually going to defend it more than Dean Ambrose will.
Yeah,
Because you
attractive.
have a lot
Tony
of
Nese maybe.
you have a lot of upper mid card guys on SmackDown either coming in or ready to come in that need to be gunning for that belt. You have Shinsuke Nakamura, because I don't think they're going to put him in the world title picture right off the bat. So I think they're going to start him off with the IC belt, let him run with that for a little bit, and then elevate him up to the world title belt.
I wish they would just do the trades that would make sense. So, for example, let's get
Seth Rollins to SmackDown.
not even that, not necessarily that. Like, okay, Kalisto, he's a cruiserweight.
Put him on Raw.
Get him on Raw.
Yeah.
Work out a trade to get him off SmackDown. He's being wasted there. Not Simon Gotch. What's the other? Aiden English. The rumor of him being a cruiserweight.
Keep him on SmackDown. You need lower level heels for like that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They can trade for lower level heels that are on Raw. With those lighter guys being on Raw, they can appear on 205 Live.
Yeah.
More airtime, more possibilities for championships there for the smaller guys.
Yeah.
I wish they would just make sense with their trades.
Yeah.
Seth
We'll
Rollins
see.
going to SmackDown would be great.
Well, that gives them like a top level
Babyface.
babyface to go
Babyface.
they're gonna have a hard time keeping Randy Orton face.
Well, yeah, people are already turning on him again.
Yeah, and granted, it's a smarkier crowd, so like they're
over
gonna
it.
boo the people they normally cheer, and they're gonna cheer the people they normally boo, and they're gonna throw around beach balls, and they're gonna just have a good old time, Maggle. So,
Maggle.
yeah. So, what do you think, Raw or SmackDown? Who do you think had a better show this week?
Raw.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So
Because of Revival.
yeah, no, that was a huge highlight.
Because
for me.
Nakamura was a huge come up, but it wasn't
He didn't do any-
impactful.
yeah, he didn't
so
do
I think the
anything.
best call up of the week was the Revival showing up
They made an
and
impact.
beating the New Day, the longest running tag team champions of all time, WWE.
Can you imagine that would have been a title match?
It probably would have been better. Probably would have lasted longer.
I mean, they're not going to obviously put the belts on them the first night.
Wipe
but,
out the Hardy Boys the first night.
Yeesh. That would be a big
And a
push.
kiss my butt match.
We haven't seen one of those in ages.
Not
My
unless
God.
Vince is involved.
So, NXT TakeOver,
Yeah.
WrestleMania,
Yeah.
Raw, SmackDown, NXT from Wednesday night,
Yeah, I watched that.
205 Live.
I watched that.
Give me your favorite 2 or 3 matches or moments from
Jeez, why don't you tell me that beforehand?
Because I like to put you on the spot, man.
The top 3 matches
Yeah.
or moments?
Matches, moments, whatever. Just like top three matches. We'll just make it easy.
Okay, my number 1 match. This is easy because the tag team title match NXT Takeover.
Yeah.
The Revival, DIY, and the Authors of Pain.
Super good match.
If you haven't seen it, watch that match. It was awesome.
Pause this right now.
All right, now unpause it and then pause again. Okay, rewind a little bit and just continue to
Now
listen
pause
to
right there.
those.
Now look at Johnny Gargano. Look what he's doing right there. That's
good.
psychology. He's a ring general.
All right, so that's my number 1 match. My number 2 match, Taker versus Reigns is probably one of them.
We good, Joe? All right. Taker Reigns.
Taker Reigns was
Really?
good.
Because of the implications.
Yeah, the implications and you know what? Maybe that's not my top 3. I will say Reigns coming out and cutting that promo on Raw. That's
was
a big moment. That's in my top
huge.
3 moments. So erase the Undertaker Reigns match, and then
that was me erasing it.
man, I don't know. The Revivals making their debut was sweet.
That was
the
really
Hardys making their debut was probably in the top 3 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll definitely agree with you. I think the tag match from Takeover is hands down the
Number 1.
match of the whole shebang bang.
Yeah.
Revival coming up. I don't think the match
The
itself,
205 match that you said.
Yeah,
that was one of
the
top
Fatal
matches?
4-Way number 1 contender match from 205 Live slept on. People need to start watching 205 Live.
It's good. The main event's always worth watching.
So good, so good. So that was super good. The tag match from Takeover, the Hardys coming back was really good for me. Shane versus Styles was super good. A lot better, like I said, a lot better than I think I had any
Too bad
right
Shane
to be.
didn't win. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, that was, just some pretty good matches. And then NXT had a really good match too with Oni Lorcan and even Oni Lorcan on 205 Live against Rich Swann was really good.
Yeah, I forget he made his debut on 205 Live, which we didn't get a chance to mention.
Yeah, we saw a lot of, especially the 205 Live, the UK guys on the NXT roster. We're starting to see a lot of like interweaving.
Pete Dunne
We need Pete Dunne
main.
on my television now.
Give him his own show on 205 or not on the network. I want to watch him live.
Pete Dunne live.
Just watch when you wrestle anyone.
Right. So yeah, that's it. That concludes it.
That concludes episode 13.
What episode are we on, Joe? I can't for the life of me. I cannot remember what episode
13.
we're on. Joe, it's episode 10, Corey.
How foolish of me to think that we count all of the episodes that we record.
We'll talk about this off the air. So,
We'll talk about it next week.
So, as always, you can follow me on Twitter at xDrTX.
I am at Heel, HEEL _COREY, Corey, Heel Corey, that's me.
Where can they follow us on the internet, Corey?
Audio Suplex Live.
Twitter.
Facebook,
Facebook,
Gmail,
YouTube,
MySpace.
And real talk, you guys can subscribe, iTunes, Google Play. You can download each episode individually. You can listen to us. If you want to watch us, you can watch us on YouTube.
We will record it onto a cassette tape if your car only has a tape player.
I'm looking into actively. I'm a record collector. I'm going to press a podcast onto vinyl so you guys can actually.
A good episode that time.
When we finally have a good episode, we'll press it on the vinyl,
It
and
may
you guys can
never
actually. But yeah, make sure you guys like, comment, share, subscribe, tell all of your friends, listen to Audio Suplex Live.
Real quick. We're doing a roundtable episode, which are my favorite, coming up here. Not next week, but the following week.
The week
most
after,
likely.
yeah. We're planning a roundtable episode. So
if you have questions, discussion ideas, let us know.
These could be anything. These could be proposed trade ideas that you'd like
be
us
outrageous.
to talk about. It could be, anything. Whatever you want us to talk about.
Anything.
Maybe we'll just do like a non-wrestling
If
show.
it was the zombie apocalypse and you had to pick 3 wrestlers to join you to fight the zombies, who would you pick?
Pete
and why?
Dunne, Charlotte, and I'll save the rest for that episode.
Boogeyman, Jack Swagger, and the great
Damien Sandow.
and the great Khali.
Oh man! So all right, for Corey, for myself, for our producer Joe, we want to thank you guys for listening. We will see you next week. Have a great week.
Hey guys, we would like to thank the band Wax for our intro and outro music. You can check them out at waxoh.bandcamp.com. You have been listening to the Nerd Complex Podcast Network.